From the station working for you, this is WRTV News at 5:30, streaming now.
And now at 5:30, it can be a heartbreaking decision, but one that can also save a life, even in the midst of the pandemic. Hoosier generosity is coming through. And Saturday's sidewalk shopping and a chance to give local businesses a much-needed boost. We have all the details straight ahead. Chris.
Today in our lineup, it could be a devastating situation for parts of the Southeast. Two powerful storms hitting potentially at the same time in the same area. What dangers experts say people could face. And voting by mail, it's something that is vital for people who live in rural areas. And we're talking with people who say they wouldn't be able to realistically take part in an election without it. And a lot of families are trying to figure out the best way to help kids with remote learning. One mom says having her kids wear their uniforms is helping. We're diving into that method.
And first at 5:30, saving lives amid the pandemic, the Indiana Donor Network is celebrating breaking a record despite the challenges created by the coronavirus pandemic. WRTV's Troy Washington takes a look at the latest life-saving initiatives.
Even during a pandemic, donor heroes are still saving lives.
The way that our healthcare providers, our hospitals, the Department of Health, all came together to make sure that donation continued to be impactful and continued to not only happen to save lives, but actually advanced it during such complicated times is just an amazing feat.
In fact, in July, the Indiana Donor Network shattered a monthly record, recovering 92 life-saving organs for patients on the national transplant waiting list. Simply put, despite the pandemic, there's been a lot of life-saving going on, even more so than before all of this started.
I think it's just a great testament to humankind and the wonderful nature of Hoosiers.
Bonnie Morin remembers a time when the loss of her son meant saving the life of someone in need.
His heart stopped within, I want to say, 30 seconds.
This mother says in 2009, her son Scott was a shooting victim. She stayed beside him until the very end.
My son was an organ donor on his license. I would have made that decision regardless because I know the importance of it.
10 years later, she can finally talk about it without breaking down into tears.
I always felt like it was taking a negative and making it a positive. That's how I've always felt. A negative for my son, but it was a positive outcome for someone else.
And knowing that he touched someone else's life reminds her the difference the donor network makes every day.
He was able to give skin and bone and arteries. The only major organ he gave was a lung. And he gave it to a gentleman that actually has the same lung disease I have.
Knowing that Scott is one of the many heroes helping Hoosiers gives her peace to continue the healing process. Working for you, Troy Washington, WRTV.
And to learn more about organ donation or register to become a donor, go to indianadonornetwork.org. Kyle, another beautiful day outside.
Yeah, looking good, feeling good here on this Friday. And as we check out the view there, DePaul University in Greencastle, where classes are going to start here in about a week and a half. Enjoying that sunshine today. Few clouds that have been moving in, and we've got a few of those in downtown with a temperature of 82. Today our warmest, though, since Monday. Of course, we had a couple of days this week where we were topping out in the upper 70s. It's 85, though, for you with some sunshine in Lafayette and Bloomington at 83 with mostly sunny skies. Humidity still not really much of an issue today. It will start to come up here this weekend, and especially next week it will get quite humid out there, and the heat's going to return as well. Satellite and radar, though, nice and quiet. You can see a few of those high thin clouds spinning in from the south. All the rain, though, it's on the Ohio side, or on the Kentucky side of the Ohio River for us this evening. So for your Friday evening plans, nice conditions out there. Temperatures in the middle 70s by 9 o'clock. Chris.
The news feed starts with hope that COVID-19 deaths will start dropping in parts of the country next week. The CDC says the closing of bars, social distancing measures, and mask mandates are leading to a decrease. We have some new concerns about silent spreaders. Massachusetts general researchers say that there is more evidence showing that children are not immune to the virus. And on top of that, a new study says that kids who don't show symptoms could spread COVID faster than sick adults because of the amount of the virus that they carry. Pharmacists are now allowed to give vaccines to children. These are new rules that are going into effect for children over the age of 3 in all 50 states. Government leaders hope that this leads to more kids being vaccinated.
I think the American people can feel comfortable that the Postal Service will deliver on this election.
Well, that's just one of the promises the Postmaster General made today during a Senate committee hearing. Senators grilled Louis DeJoy over a series of issues. One of the biggest was the use of mail sorting machines. Right now, they're only operating at about 35% capacity. Senators insist these machines are needed to deliver mail daily.
By refusing to restart or replace these machines, you're really sabotaging the Postal Service's ability to sort mail efficiently, and you're undermining postal workers' commitment to that everyday delivery.
Now, Vote America, which is a nonprofit that supports voter turnout, says that these machines are needed to make sure that mail-in ballots are delivered on time.
As long as those machines are put back and are plugged back in, there are absolutely no issues with the USPS delivering the ballots. This is what they do.
DeJoy says the machines were removed because they are being replaced with package sorting machines. The Postal Service does not plan on getting mail sorting machines running again. Now, the Postmaster General said that his agency did cut extra trips by mail carriers, but he denied speaking with the Trump administration about how the Postal Service may impact the election. Several senators asked DeJoy to submit documents that show how the post office is operating, and those are due on Sunday. He will testify again at a House committee hearing the next day. All right, let's get back to our lineup. It could be a potentially devastating situation for parts of the Southeast. Two powerful storms hitting at the same time, potentially. We look at the likelihood that this could actually happen.
Many businesses have struggled to stay open during the pandemic, and tomorrow you can show some downtown establishments some love in a socially distanced manner. The Mass Ave Merchants Association is inviting you to their Mass Ave Different Sidewalk Sale tomorrow. Your favorite merchants will have their merchandise outside their storefronts on small tables or racks with great discounts. Mass Ave is closed to cars right now, so it'll be easy to get around in a socially distanced way while wearing masks. The event runs from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. Chris.
So much concern along the Gulf Coast right now. There are two tropical systems that are headed for the area at the same time. Potentially, they could impact land on the same day. This is a very rare situation, according to the National Weather Service. In fact, it's something we haven't seen in decades. Now, what's most concerning is the amount of people in the storm's paths.
The number of people that could be impacted by these two systems is huge, from the northern part of Texas throughout the entire coast, west side of Florida and the Panhandle as well.
Large amounts of rain, storm surge and wind are threatening the Gulf Coast early next week. So a big question when you do look at some of these images, could they merge? Well, that would be something called the Fujiwara effect, which is named after a Japanese meteorologist who first described it happening, because it is something that does happen in the Pacific with typhoons.
That's where two come in close contact and then they move around each other counterclockwise. That's not going to happen in this one.
Now, there is another potential impact of these storms just being so close together.
So when you have two of these in one area, then the descending air may get into the other one and help weaken it or make the other one stronger.
Now, of course, what you're looking at, projections of what could happen, and there is still a lot of time for things to change. But regardless, meteorologists say people potentially in the storm's path, they do need to be hurricane ready. All right, former Full House star Lori Loughlin sentenced in connection to the college admissions scandal. That tops our news feed. Loughlin sentenced to 2 months in prison. This was part of a plea deal. Her husband was sentenced to 5 months behind bars. A funeral today for President Trump's brother at the White House. Robert Trump dying last week at the age of 71. He is younger than the president. It is still unclear how he died. The Justice Department wants to reinstate the Boston bombers' death sentence. They're appealing to the Supreme Court. A federal appeals court vacated the death sentence last month. He could receive a new penalties trial to decide. Still ahead in our lineup, voting by mail. That is something that is vital for people who live in rural areas. We are speaking with some people who say that they wouldn't be able to realistically take part in an election without it. The CDC is updating its guidelines for schools reopening. It's more information for administrators to limit the spread of the virus and what to do if someone gets sick. The CDC's director says they are beginning to see a positive turn in the southern outbreak of virus cases, and he's predicting a significant drop in the death rate next week, but there is a warning sign.
That we're starting to see some of the cases now in the red zone areas are falling. But if you look at those states that are in what's called the yellow zone, between 5 and 10%, they're not falling. So middle America right now is getting stuck.
The CDC director says that they are focused on getting the public more confident with flu vaccinations. More than 9 million extra doses of flu vaccine were ordered. The plan is to distribute the flu vaccine so a COVID vaccine may also be given out. Pharmacists and mobile units in rural areas are playing a huge role. Now, for teachers and other educators, it has been a bumpy summer with so many unknowns. Dan Grossman shows us how some have found a way to find stability with their incomes so they can focus on what they do best, and that is teaching.
To understand Jim and Joe Pustisi's marriage,
I taught you to snowboard.
Yep.
Jim taught me to roll the kayak.
Is to understand give and take.
Still not good at.
Married for more than 15 years.
16.
Excuse me, 16.
Who's counting?
Yeah. Their biggest test of give and take came 7 years ago.
That's our view from our deck.
When they put up their beloved cabin in the mountains for people to stay in through Airbnb.
Joe had to really convince me that to do an Airbnb now, because we had put so much.
This is my thing.
Yeah. We had put so much work into the cabin that I didn't want someone to come in and abuse it.
If you look, that hasn't happened, even though the place is booked nearly every day of the summer months. And it's been happening to more teachers who have found themselves turning to Airbnb as well. In 2019, Airbnb said teachers raked in $230 million through Airbnb rentals. 81 million of that came during the months of June, July, and August when they weren't teaching. It's a big jump from 2017 when teachers brought in $160 million, with $54 million coming during the summer months.
It's kind of like our own little business, too. You know, so it is fun. It's just fun even reading reviews or talking to people on the phone.
It gives the Pustisis a way to live their lives a little more loosely.
Great little spot in Twin Lakes.
It also gives them a chance to look back on reviews, knowing they did what they do best, share information and experiences.
People are enjoying the same things that we enjoy, and it's like, and yeah, I don't know, it's cool.
It makes you feel good that other people are feeling good.
Yeah.
For a couple whose profession and passion is in flux, what more could you ask for? I'm Dan Grossman reporting.
Not all the hot laps today were turned at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. A local business found a way to still enjoy Carb Day and support a good cause. The company called Miles Ahead took to a much different type of track today to conduct one of their mini challenge autocross events to mark Carb Day. They hit the track at the Indy Cycloplex to race and raise money for the Youth Opportunity Fund. It's a Carmel-based nonprofit that helps troubled teens become successful adults.
It's pretty cool. You know, it's not everybody plays golf, but everybody can drive a car, so that's why we're out here racing minis, and we got a perfect day for it.
How fun. Participants raced in 6 identical mini John Cooper Works hardtops around a timed autocross course in a friendly competition between corporate teams. Looks like a lot of fun. Kyle.
Yeah, and you know, I think those are cars you and I could handle. We could get out there.
What are you talking about? I can
her.
handle an Indy car.
You can. I don't think I could, but all right, as we check out the view there, Bloomington, nice quiet weather for us. The sunshine continues here across central Indiana, and we'll see a lot of that as we go into the upcoming weekend. Just small chances for a shower or thunderstorm, but it's under 40% here both days with high temperatures in the middle 80s. Tonight we'll be in the lower 60s, not quite as cool with a few of those clouds across the area, but again, no threat of rain overnight tonight. As we go into the day tomorrow, a few more of those clouds than we've had the last couple of days. Our temperatures will also be a little bit warmer. 81 degrees at noon. We'll get to the middle 80s for that afternoon high. And as far as rain chances, it's a 30% chance. You notice, though, this is 3:30 tomorrow afternoon. Most of that wet weather is closer to Cincinnati, tries to rotate in across the southeastern portion of the state here. If you see it, it won't last very long. Those temperatures, 84 in Bloomington, 86 tomorrow afternoon in the Muncie area. And for race day, The forecast looking pretty good here. We'll have partly cloudy skies, just that 20% chance of a shower or storm during the evening as temperatures make their way back into the middle 80s. We heat up into the lower 90s with a dry stretch next week. Chris?
Let's start the news feed. Estee Lauder is laying off as many as 2,000 people. It's also closing 10% of its stores. The pandemic hit as the company was working to adjust investments. DoorDash is not just delivering takeout. The app now delivering groceries in select cities. People are cutting down on trips to the supermarket during the pandemic. You can get 15% off your order next week. Well, close to half of Americans are concerned about the election being fair. A new survey found 46% specifically are worried. The survey comes as there are growing concerns about whether the Postal Service can handle mail-in voting. Life in rural America, it can carry challenges that you just don't see in the big city, and that is especially true, they say, on Election Day. We traveled to one of the most remote parts of the country to see how people are making sure a different life doesn't mean less access to rights like voting. It's the kind of place that likes being far away.
I can grow my own food, I can grow my own meat.
Sam Van Wetter works to make sure the voices of tiny Boulder aren't lost in the massive landscape of southern Utah.
I think our voting system is designed for folks who live in metropolitan areas and can, on their way home, just walk another block or two to go to a polling place and cast their ballot there.
He works with the Rural Utah Project to make sure people off the beaten path have the same options as the rest of America. Because here on Election Day, typically the only polling location in this county isn't a few blocks away.
You have to drive 2.5 hours to the west to the county seat where you can vote in the courthouse.
The seclusion makes voting by mail the preferred option. But as many parts of America worry if post offices can handle all the ballots, Sam fears here in the most rural corners of the country, there is larger room for error.
You have to work in advance and be proactive to get your ballot in.
Those who worry a ballot could be lost or won't arrive on time could be out of luck.
I don't trust it. I think that the votes can be screwed up big time when all get counted, so I don't like it.
The only place to turn in your ballot by hand or vote in person is the county clerk's office, that 2-hour drive away.
If you're working or maybe you're an older person that doesn't feel comfortable making that drive, it just means you don't get your ballot turned in, and that's happened just more often than I'd like to hear about.
Sam wants local leaders to provide ballot drop boxes across the county.
It would enable us to drop the ballot a day or two before the election.
We talked to the county clerk who told us drop boxes probably won't happen this fall, citing confidence in years of mail-in voting, but also saying Boulder is just too far away.
There are too many barriers to vote, and living in a rural place gives you a few more barriers.
Distance, Sam is making sure, isn't an obstacle in taking part in the most American of duties.
There are many different ways to live as an American, and we need systems that account for everyone and don't leave anyone without a vote in the dark.
And finally in our lineup today, a lot of families are trying to figure out the best way to help kids with remote learning. One mom says that she has her kids wear uniforms and that's helping. We're diving into that method with a child psychologist. Parents are trying to find the best way to teach their kids at home. Experts say routine is key. But you hear that, what does it really look like? Kim Alvadrez is a parent who's trying to keep her first graders to really stick to a school day routine. She says it's hard to keep her kids focused on school lesson plans. Well, let's face it, they miss being with their friends. But one way she has found to help is that her children will actually wear their regular school uniforms.
They wear uniforms, and I feel like it helps to get them in that mind frame that they're sitting to do school.
Setting a little home office for the kids to do their schoolwork and be online learning versus having their kid in the living room on their laptop sitting on the couch while the TV's going. They're going to be much more successful in that more structured environment.
Now, Dr. Jessica Hawk says that it is important to let kids be kids. Include some breaks from lessons for a few minutes for them to run around. Now, Alvadrez says that is a tough balance that she faces every day because her kids just tend to lose focus when they take a break. So it's really all about starting the morning off right.
The school provides lessons that are like via live Zoom in the mornings where the kids attend. And so that also helps get them in the mindset.
Child psychologists say a good school routine comes with structure outside of virtual learning. Kim says one of the things that they learned from the spring is getting kids up around the same time each morning and having them learning in the same area. Now, as businesses, no matter the size, struggle through the pandemic, some are learning the power of banding together. On Monday, how women who are fishermen are finding strength in numbers, successfully rebounding from the economic effects of this virus.
Just low chances for rain for us this weekend on Saturday and Sunday. We're going to be taking those rain chances away, though, as we get into next week and bringing that summer heat back with high temperatures around 90 degrees Monday through Thursday. More rain by the end of the week. Thanks for joining us here at 5:30.